every defining moment of transformation you long for. The thriving career, the deep connection, the daring leap that reshapes your path sits quietly behind a threshold named fear. Most people approach that door, but never turn the handle. They stall. They rationalize. They whisper to themselves, "Someday." But here's the truth no one tells you. Fear isn't a barricade, it's a signal. It's your inner compass pointing toward the exact place where growth is waiting. Ignore it, and that voice doesn't fade. It grows stronger until it rules your choices. Yet, the instant you choose action in the presence of that trembling energy, the hold of fear begins to dissolve. Fear is nothing more than a mental mirage, a projection of what-ifs that rarely exist outside imagination. When you realize this, the impossible unlocks. You'll notice that every time you step forward despite hesitation, you don't just survive. You emerge with greater strength than before. History's extraordinary leaders didn't rise to greatness because they were fearless. They rose with fear and acted anyway. Think of Nelson Mandela. Years in confinement, uncertainty at every turn, yet he never allowed fear to dictate the vision he carried. His courage wasn't the absence of trembling, it was the decision to move in harmony with it. That's the mindset you must claim. When nervousness rises, don't see it as a reason to retreat. See it as a landmark showing you exactly where your next breakthrough lies. Your thoughts function like soil. Plant doubts, and they multiply into barriers. Plant boldness, and resilience blooms. The choice is always yours. Right now, in this very second, you have the authority to rewrite your relationship with fear. Stop seeing it as an enemy. Begin to treat it as a teacher, a signpost, even a hidden ally guiding you toward untapped potential. Fear doesn't vanish by accident. It fades when you decide to redefine who you are at your core. Forget the endless list of techniques you've heard. Those are surface remedies. The real transformation happens the moment you change your identity. When you embody a new self-concept, what once seemed like paralyzing obstacles become milestones you expected all along. Think of Leonardo da Vinci. He wasn't shackled by a fear of imperfection. His identity was rooted in endless discovery. To him, every failed sketch wasn't evidence of defeat, it was evidence of progress. That shift in perspective erased fear, because he no longer measured himself by immediate success, but by relentless exploration. And here lies the question that can alter your life. Who must I become to make my vision inevitable? This isn't abstract philosophy. It's the most practical question you can ask yourself. If your dream is to create a flourishing enterprise, then you must become the person who views challenges not as immovable barriers, but as stepping stones. If your dream is to master a skill, you must become the person who interprets rejection not as a closed door, but as redirection toward better opportunities. This shift of identity doesn't happen through idle affirmations. It happens through consistent action. Daily choices reinforce your new self-image until it becomes natural. Albert Einstein expressed it clearly. Whether you believe reality is friendly or hostile, your belief creates the world you see. Your identity shapes your results far more than circumstances ever could. The moment you declare, "I am the type of person who moves through fear," you issue an instruction to your subconscious mind. Your behavior bends to match that new belief. This is the simplicity of transformation. You don't need complicated formulas. You need a single powerful decision. To see yourself differently, identity shifts first. Behavior follows. Picture yourself standing at the edge of your comfort zone. The old version of you feels anxious. The new version feels energized. Same situation, completely different interpretation. That's the spark of personal evolution. Not merely adjusting your actions, but upgrading who you are. When you choose to become someone who thrives in uncertainty, who treats obstacles as adventures, who reads setbacks as lessons, fear loses its ability to hold you. And here's the secret most never realize. That version of you is not far away. It's available now, in this very moment, through a single choice. Choose today to embody the identity that makes your dream non-negotiable. Step into the self who renders hesitation irrelevant. The world is waiting for the force you are becoming, because every time you face fear, you make a deposit into what I call your courage account, and that account compounds. Each brave step you take doesn't just prepare you for the next one. It multiplies your strength exponentially. That's the difference between legends and spectators. The icons of history didn't summon courage once. They built it daily. Oprah Winfrey didn't step onto her first stage free of nerves. She built courage by saying yes again and again, even when fear whispered no. Each choice stacked upon the last, until her voice transformed culture itself. Your journey is the same. The grand life you imagine isn't created in one leap. It's constructed brick by brick, through every small act of bravery you dare to take today. Have the conversation you've been postponing. Share your idea where you've been silent. Begin the project you've been doubting. These aren't small gestures. They are deposits into the account that makes your future unstoppable. Each time you choose progress over perfection, movement over waiting, courage over comfort, you are no longer the same. You are upgraded. And soon, the courage you've compounded will carry you to heights that once felt unreachable. This is how it begins. This is where your story of unstoppable power takes root. Right now, you might see setbacks as the enemy. You may believe stumbling means you're not ready, not talented, not chosen. But here's a truth that will liberate you. Failure is not final, it's formative. Every disappointment carries within it the seed of your advancement. Each misstep is not proof of weakness. It's proof that you're moving, learning, stretching beyond what you knew yesterday. Thomas Edison once said he had never failed, only found thousands of ways that didn't work. But let's go even further back. Think of the Wright brothers. How many times did their flying machines collapse into the sand? Yet, every crash was a chapter in the manual that would one day give humanity wings. Their so-called failures were simply lessons disguised as setbacks, guiding them toward history's first flight. This is the perspective you must adopt. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the foundation of it. Every stumble builds resilience. Every rejection sharpens your vision. Every detour prepares you for the right path. The heroes you admire didn't succeed by avoiding mistakes. They succeeded because they refused to let mistakes define them. Think of J.K. Rowling. Dozens of publishers closed their doors on her manuscript. If she had taken those rejections as a verdict, there would be no Harry Potter. But she chose to interpret every no not as defeat, but as direction. And eventually, one yes was enough to change global culture. The lesson is simple. Setbacks are not walls, they're signals. They whisper, adjust, adapt, try again. The question is not whether you will stumble. The question is who you will become through it. When you realize this, hesitation loses its grip. You begin to act boldly, not because you expect perfection, but because you understand mistakes are part of the price of mastery. The great violinist Itzhak Perlman once broke a string during a concert. Instead of stopping, he continued the performance on the remaining strings, adapting every note in real time. The audience was left in awe, not because the music was flawless, but because the courage to continue transformed imperfection into greatness. That's the opportunity failure hands you, to rise stronger, to prove to yourself you are more than circumstances. Think of your setbacks as investments. Each one deposits wisdom into your future account. Each one strengthens a muscle you didn't know you had. Each one is shaping the version of you who is fully prepared for success. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who fall more often than anyone else, because they're the ones daring enough to try. Michael Jordan missed more than 9,000 shots in his career. He lost almost 300 games. 26 times, he was trusted to take the game-winning shot, and he missed. Yet he is remembered not for those failures, but for how he used them as fuel to rise again and again until he became one of the greatest athletes in history. That is the reframe you must claim. From now on, failure is no longer a chain holding you back. It's a key unlocking the next level of your strength. The next time you stumble, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," think, "I'm becoming better through this." When you adopt this lens, you'll notice something miraculous. Fear of failure evaporates. Because failure itself is no longer threatening. It becomes your teacher, your mentor, your ally. Look around at the titans of human history. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before he became president. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination before he created entire worlds of wonder. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before he returned to build one of the most valuable enterprises on Earth. They didn't resist failure, they redefined it. And so must you. Your journey is not about avoiding mistakes. It's about transforming them into stepping stones. Imagine the power of living this way. No longer waiting for perfect conditions. No longer holding back until you feel certain. Instead, moving forward boldly, knowing that even if you fall, the fall itself is part of the climb. This is how champions think. They don't fear mistakes. They collect them like treasures, each one adding depth, wisdom, and resilience to their story. So today, declare this truth with me. I will no longer fear failure, because I see its true purpose in my journey. Every stumble is shaping me into someone unstoppable. Say it, feel it, let it soak into your identity. Because once you live by this mindset, hesitation loses its grip and courage becomes your default. From this day forward, your failures are not your enemy. They are your most valuable mentors. They are preparing you for the extraordinary destiny only you can fulfill. This is your invitation to rise, not in spite of failure, but because of it. While the majority of people wait, hesitate, and overthink, opportunities silently vanish. Indecision is not neutral. It is the quiet thief of destiny. Every moment you postpone a choice, you allow life to drift past you. But decisiveness, clear, bold, immediate choice, is the spark that ignites transformation. Decisive action isn't just a trait of achievers. It is the engine of achievement itself. Look at Alexander the Great. At just 20 years old, he inherited a fractured kingdom. Did he hesitate, doubting whether he was ready? No, he made swift, unwavering decisions, setting out to conquer territories others considered untouchable. His commitment to action created momentum so powerful it carried him into legend. This is the pattern. History remembers the doers, not the doubters. The truth is, there will never be perfect conditions. Waiting for certainty is like waiting for a storm to clear in order to set sail. You'll wait forever. The achievers understand this. They analyze, they prepare, but then they decide, fully, boldly, without retreat. Consider Richard Branson. Again and again, he launched ventures others called reckless. Was he always guaranteed success? Not at all. But his willingness to decide, to act before everything was neatly aligned, is what built the Virgin Empire. Here's the secret. The universe responds to commitment. When you decide with absolute conviction, you awaken resources, ideas, and allies that hesitation could never attract. Most people lose their futures not because they lack talent, but because they never fully commit. They stay in the gray area of maybe later. But champions live in now. Think of the bold statement made by Amelia Earhart. She didn't wait for aviation to be safe enough. She stepped into the cockpit, decided to act, and became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. That decision didn't just change her life. It shifted what millions believed was possible. This is what decisive action does. It multiplies your influence, not only on your life, but on the lives of everyone who watches you dare. So, what decisions have you been postponing? That project you've been sketching in your mind but never starting. That conversation you've been avoiding. That idea you keep researching but never executing. Each one is an open door, but only if you choose to walk through it. Decisiveness doesn't mean reckless leaps. It means aligning your choices with your vision and moving with full commitment. Once you decide, half the battle is won, because momentum is born. Think about Elon Musk. Whether you admire him or not, his empire was not built on hesitation. When others debated whether electric cars could ever succeed, he decided to stake everything on Tesla. When critics scoffed at the thought of private space travel, he committed to SpaceX. These choices, made in uncertainty, created revolutions. And here's the principle. When you decide quickly and adapt slowly, you cultivate a force that cuts through doubt and inertia. Say it with me. I will decide quickly and commit completely, because life rewards the bold, not the hesitant. Every time you hesitate, you strengthen the muscle of procrastination. Every time you decide, you strengthen the muscle of courage. Which one are you training today? Imagine yourself standing at a crossroads. One path leads to endless deliberation, analysis, waiting for guarantees. The other path is commitment, imperfect but powerful. Which do you think leads to transformation? The greatest builders, creators, and leaders were rarely the smartest or the richest at the start. They were the ones who acted, who moved, who leapt while others lingered. Remember this. Indecision creates more pain than wrong decisions. Why? Because action creates movement, even if you have to adjust later. Hesitation creates stagnation, which slowly drains your spirit. Think of Oprah again. She didn't begin with certainty. She began with a choice to say yes when opportunity came knocking, even when fear and doubt whispered no. That yes carried her from local television to a global platform. That's the magic of decision. It multiplies itself. Once you decide, confidence follows. Once you act, momentum builds. Once you commit, the path clears. And here's the truth most people miss. Hesitation costs more than mistakes. You can recover from a wrong step, but you cannot recover the time you lose by waiting. So today, make this your code. Decide boldly. Commit fully. Adjust only when necessary. No more postponing. No more when the timing is right. No more waiting for perfect clarity. This is your moment. While others hesitate, you will act. While others deliberate, you will commit. While others hope, you will create certainty through sheer determination. Your destiny is not waiting for more research, more planning, or more time. It is waiting for you to decide. So decide, right now. Declare your direction, commit with courage, and step forward with the unstoppable energy of someone who knows that life bends in favor of the bold. This is the power of decisive action. This is how you claim your future. Your future is being shaped not by luck, not by chance, but by the thoughts that dominate your mind every single day. Your attention is the most powerful resource you own. Wherever you consistently direct it, that's where your life flows. The challenge: we live in a world designed to scatter your focus into 1,000 fragments. Notifications, distractions, noise. They pull your mind in every direction until nothing meaningful gets finished. But here's the truth. The achievers who change the world aren't the most gifted or the most connected. They are the ones who master focus, the discipline of choosing what matters most, and pouring their energy into it like a laser cutting through steel. Look at Marie Curie. Surrounded by skepticism and barriers, She kept her attention locked on her research with relentless determination. While others were swayed by doubt or distraction, she refined her work until she became the first person in history to win 2 Nobel Prizes. That wasn't luck. It was focus, unyielding concentration on her highest purpose. This is the secret. What you dwell on expands. If you focus on fear, your mind will collect evidence to confirm it. If you focus on possibility, your brain will scan the environment for opportunities. This isn't mysticism, it's biology. Your mind is wired to seek what it expects. That's why you must train your focus like a muscle. Ask yourself better questions. Instead of, what if everything falls apart? Ask, how can this challenge prepare me for my next breakthrough? Instead of, what if I'm not ready? Ask, how can I bring even more value than anyone expects? The quality of your questions determines the quality of your life. Focus is not passive, it is intentional. It is deciding, this is where my energy goes. This is where my attention lives. This is the vision I will feed until it manifests. Think of Warren Buffett. He built his fortune not by chasing every shiny idea, but by maintaining extraordinary discipline in where he placed his focus. He once said the difference between successful people and truly successful people is that truly successful people say no to almost everything. That's the level of clarity you must embody. Every time you allow distraction to steal your focus, you weaken your momentum. Every time you guard your attention and direct it toward your vision, you strengthen it. Imagine your focus as sunlight. On its own, it warms but doesn't ignite. But when concentrated through a magnifying glass, it can set fire to steel. Your mind works the same way. When you scatter your energy across dozens of minor tasks, you remain lukewarm. But when you direct your focus with precision toward your highest priorities, you generate unstoppable force. And this isn't about working harder. It's about working with clarity. Think of Serena Williams. Thousands of athletes train hard, but her greatness came from extraordinary focus. She learned to tune out distractions, to channel every ounce of energy into her game, to refine every detail until excellence became inevitable. That focus carried her to become one of the greatest champions of all time. You must create the same discipline in your own life. Each morning, ask yourself, what are the 3 things that matter most today? Then protect them fiercely. Shut out the noise. Delay the distractions. Guard your energy like the treasure it is. Because here's the truth. In a distracted world, focus itself is a superpower. And when you master it, you gain an advantage few people will ever know. Your mind is waiting for instructions. Will you train it to spot obstacles or to spot opportunities? Will you use it to create excuses or to create breakthroughs? Every thought is a choice. Every focus is a seed. Plant wisely. Imagine your life 1 year from now if you simply mastered this discipline. Instead of scattering your energy across hundreds of trivialities, you concentrated it on your vision. How different would your results be? Focus creates momentum. Momentum creates breakthroughs. Breakthroughs create destiny. So today, commit to this principle. I will guard my focus with discipline. I will direct my thoughts toward solutions, opportunities, and growth. Feel the power in those words. Feel how they sharpen your energy. Because when you focus, fear shrinks. When you focus, doubt dissolves. When you focus, you become unstoppable. This is not just motivation. It is mental strategy at the highest level. Your focus determines your reality, and your reality determines your legacy. So choose wisely, concentrate deliberately, direct your energy like a laser toward the life you are building. Your extraordinary future depends on it. Growth doesn't come wrapped in ease. Transformation never arrives through comfort. Every expansion of your capacity requires stepping into places that feel uncertain, awkward, even uncomfortable. Your nervous system is ancient. It was designed to conserve energy and avoid pain. That instinct once kept your ancestors alive. But today, that same programming builds invisible walls around your potential. Your comfort zone is not a safe haven. It's a beautifully decorated prison. The life you dream of is not inside that zone. It exists just beyond it, in the territory where discomfort begins. Think of Mahatma Gandhi. He didn't choose the easy path of silence or conformity. He chose the discomfort of resistance, of standing firm in the face of adversity. That discomfort became the furnace that forged a movement of freedom for millions. The champions of history were not spared discomfort. They invited it, because discomfort is not punishment, it is training. Muhammad Ali said he hated every moment of training, but he endured it because he knew it would allow him to live the rest of his life as a champion. He understood the equation. Temporary discomfort equals permanent growth. This is the equation you must accept. Every time you choose the harder path, you expand. Every time you lean into the challenge instead of retreating, you rewire your mind and body to handle more. The principle is simple. Your growth zone begins where your comfort zone ends. Imagine steel in a forge. By itself, it is raw material with potential. But only under the heat of fire does it transform into something unbreakable. You are the same. The discomfort you resist is the fire that forges your strength. Think of Simone Biles. Her routines broke barriers because she embraced the grind of pushing her body beyond limits most athletes would never dare. The discomfort of endless repetition, of mistakes, of pressure, it all forged her into one of the greatest gymnasts the world has ever seen. The truth is this: what feels uncomfortable today will empower you tomorrow. So instead of fleeing discomfort, begin to seek it strategically. Make that phone call you've been avoiding. Speak the truth you've been swallowing. Tackle the project that intimidates you most. These aren't punishments, they are pathways. Each time you walk into discomfort, you raise your threshold. What once caused panic becomes manageable. What once felt impossible becomes routine. This is how you grow. Elite performers across every discipline understand this. Astronauts endure simulations that push them to physical and mental extremes, not because it's pleasant, but because discomfort prepares them for the unknown. Musicians practice until their fingers ache, not because it's easy, but because discomfort sharpens their craft. Entrepreneurs risk rejection again and again, not because they enjoy it, but because discomfort carves them into leaders. Discomfort is not the enemy. It is the forge of mastery. So ask yourself, 1 year from now, will your future self thank you for staying comfortable or for choosing the stretch? The answer determines your destiny. Picture yourself as steel being shaped in the fire. The heat is uncomfortable, but the transformation is extraordinary. Now imagine this. What terrifies you today becomes your normal tomorrow. What seems overwhelming now becomes your strength later. That is the power of embracing discomfort. So, make this declaration your code. I choose growth over comfort. I choose courage over ease. I choose greatness over mediocrity. Feel the energy of those words. Let them burn into your spirit. Because here's the secret. The more you choose discomfort, the faster you grow. Think of astronauts, athletes, inventors, and leaders. None of them reached greatness by choosing the easy road. They chose the fire. And because they chose it consistently, they became extraordinary. Your life is shaped the same way. The moments that test you, stretch you, challenge you, those are the very moments sculpting you into someone unstoppable. So today, run toward what feels uncomfortable. Make it your practice. Make it your ally. Because the path of ease leads to mediocrity, but the path of discomfort leads to greatness. And you, right now, have the power to choose. Choose the fire. Choose the stretch. Choose the life waiting for you on the other side of comfort. At this very moment, your greatest life stands on the other side of vision. Not just a casual dream, not just a list of goals, but a vision so compelling, so magnetic, that hesitation no longer matters. When your vision burns bright enough, fear fades into background noise. This is not fantasy. It's the psychological leverage that has turned ordinary people into world changers. Think of Walt Disney. He faced bankruptcy, rejection, and relentless doubt from those around him. Yet his vision, to create experiences of wonder and joy, was so vivid, so undeniable, that surrender would have been more painful than persistence. His vision carried him where fear could not. That's the truth. Vision doesn't just inspire you, it demands you to act. When you connect deeply with what you are here to create, hesitation disappears. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "How can I make this real?" Your vision must become your North Star. This requires silence, reflection, the courage to look beyond what society expects, and instead ask, "What makes my heart race? What destiny pulls me forward?" Write that vision. Describe it in detail. See it, hear it, feel it. Who will be touched when it comes alive? How will your life, your family, your community be transformed when you embody it? The clearer your vision, the stronger its magnetic pull. And here's the shift. Once your vision is strong enough, fear doesn't disappear. It simply becomes irrelevant. Think of a mother whose child is trapped in danger. Does she pause to calculate risks? Does she wait for confidence? No, she acts. Because the vision of saving her child is non-negotiable. Your vision must ignite that same level of urgency. So ask yourself, 1 year from now, will you celebrate the courage to chase your vision, or regret another year lost to hesitation? The answer depends entirely on the vision you construct today. But vision alone isn't enough. You must pair it with something even deeper, legacy. Because when you begin to think in terms of legacy, your fears shrink to their true size, temporary distractions. 100 years from now, what will remain of your life? What contribution will ripple across generations because of the choices you make today? John D. Rockefeller could have lived his life consumed by wealth alone. Instead, he shifted his focus to legacy, building foundations that continue to impact lives long after his passing. That shift transformed his relationship with risk and reward. Challenges no longer frightened him, because he wasn't living for himself alone. He was living for the generations beyond him. This is the mindset you must claim. Your fears lose power the moment you begin living for something greater than your comfort. Legacy is not about fame. It's not about recognition. It's about contribution. It's about becoming a link in the unbroken chain of human progress. Your courage today is not just for you. It becomes inspiration for those who follow. Your persistence today is not just your victory. It creates a path others will walk. Every time you push through fear, you're not only shaping your life, you're shaping what's possible for everyone who witnesses your journey. So ask yourself, what impact am I uniquely positioned to make? That question will change everything. Your legacy is not built in grand gestures. It is built in the daily decisions you make when fear rises. It is built when you choose courage over comfort. It is built when you create instead of waiting, when you speak instead of staying silent, when you move instead of freezing. The truth is, most people at the end of their lives regret not the risks they took, but the chances they never dared to seize. They regret the courage they did not summon, the vision they never pursued, the contribution they withheld. Don't let that be your story. From this day forward, declare, I refuse to let temporary fear steal my permanent contribution. Feel the power in that declaration. Let it shake off hesitation. Let it replace doubt with determination. Because the greatest leaders, inventors, And changemakers were not fearless. They were vision-driven. They were legacy-minded. They looked beyond their immediate struggles to their place in the larger human story. Your destiny is not just about what you achieve, it is about what you leave behind. Imagine your great-grandchildren telling the story of your life. Will they speak of the courage you embodied? Will they remember the obstacles you overcame? Will they draw strength from the legacy you created? Their answer depends on your choices today. So step boldly. Build your vision. Live your legacy. Your fear will dissolve in the presence of that purpose. And when history remembers you, it will not recall the moments you hesitated. It will celebrate the moments you decided, acted, and transformed your life into a gift for the world. This is your time. This is your calling. Step through the door. Claim the vision. Leave the legacy. Your extraordinary life awaits.